What's going on, everybody? Here's one I've been wanting to do for a while. This is a fun one. It has to do with that party game, light as a feather, stiff as a board, as well as um, kinesises. Hydrokinesis, aerokinesis, biokinesis, basically called psychokinesis. And there's a lot of people out here that explain it and tell you what to do and what's done and how, but they don't know exactly how it works. And I'm telling you how it works. And if you go look into my other videos on how the pyramids work, how look into static electricity, because this is really all it is. And there's ways of using subtle energy and subtle brain waves to direct and change what you're doing. So there's a connection between the brainwave patterns you have and the type of power you have. And so by cleaning out your body, this all goes in everything that I explain to people to do about cleaning out your body and then getting electrically charged up. We could talk about Indian food. There's a reason it's called curry, because it has current in it, meaning energy, and the different types of hot and spices they use. They put a charge in your system, and they always have a milk or a butter product, which is basically um, as I've put it many of times, the wrapping around the wire so you don't burn yourself out. So the fats, they help to insulate. They're an insulator for the electrical charge. And as you increase your electrical charge, you can do things like telekinesis and biokinesis and aerokinesis, even playing with fire, because it all is working off the same electrical system. Electricity of magnetics, so electromagnetic field that's around you. You're a being of resonance, of frequency, and each one of your organs that resonates with different brain waves, and all overarching is run by your blood plasma and how much current is running in there. And so this is the idea of getting rid of salts out of your system, putting in the right things. I mean, if you have salt in your system, you can surely you'll surely have power, but it won't be coming from you. As I've explained plenty of times, there's a difference between what a lemon is. So if you look at that lemon clock, there is, you stick two poles in there and you can run something because it has salts in there. It has bioavailable organic salts, but it also has the power in there. It has the life force, the energy, where if you take those two wires and you stick them in water with salt, there's no charge there. So the salt is just the ability for the arc to jump. Where that arc is coming from with salt, you don't know. You could put that clock wouldn't work. You wouldn't have the electricity. You can put salt in your system and have an electrical charge run through you, yes, but it's not coming from you. It's not, you don't have the source of it. So the source of the energy would be coming from somewhere else. And this gets into scepters and control and archons and the kings and queens and why they have staffs and scepters and the crowns and what all of those are. And I highly suggest go back and check those videos out if you want to get a little further into it. But the idea of telekinesis is you're using a subtle static electrical charge. You're using not only your brain waves to correct and to move energy in your body by focusing attention somewhere in your body, but you can get into different breathing patterns and brainwave states. And I don't know that anybody else out here is teaching this or even knows that this is how it works. They just know that if you breathe a certain way and you get into a certain meditation, that you can make things happen. But I don't know that anyone truly knows why or how. But I'm explaining it here, that it has to do with static electricity, and it has to do with your brainwave patterns, which have to do with, again, you have four major brainwave patterns: beta, alpha, theta, and delta. And each one of those have to do with a mudra on your fingers. And once again, if anybody's curious, take a look through my collection of videos. There's an earlier one I did specifically on that. And so each one of your fingers is a mudra, and that's connecting to a positive or negative pole in your body. And it's also connecting to a different brainwave, and you can also correct DNA with it. We can get to a lot of different things you can do. but you're changing the subtlety of the brain waves in your body, which uh, are connected to your electrical field, which would be called your aura or your area. And all of that is being pushed out of the heart, the electromagnetic frequency of the heart, or at least the center of the body. We could call it the heart if you'd like. Um, that's pushing out your electrical magnetic resonance. And so this is why empathy can be used to increase this. If you look into Dan Winter's work, he talks about being in resonance with someone else. And so like a heart space. And so you can actually feel a charge of somebody else. That's a feeling of love and a feeling of what the golden mean is, what the golden spiral is. And so all of this works into the ability to use your electrical charge, the field around you, which is subtle. You're not going to be throwing electricity out of your hands. Well, maybe you can. But the most easy way you can think about this is everyone has walked by a light and it's shut off or turned on, or you've had some weird things happen and you don't know why, but there's a chance that you were actually entrained to that frequency and you did something with that. And everybody's had weird, everybody's played with a balloon and made a static electrical charge on their hair. Everybody's touched something or run around their house and built up static electric charge with their socks on and shocked someone, and maybe even seen the thing. So there's no doubt you're obviously a being that has electrical capacity in you. And so now if you can just steer that and do it subtlety and do it on a subtle level, you certainly can move anything. You can certainly use your mind and the energy around you. You don't. People sometimes use their hands. So this, you see people putting their hand around a piece of aluminum foil, and they're creating a field around that to move the foil. But because you already have a field around your body, it doesn't need to necessarily come through your hands. It can, and it's probably the most direct way. But if you're using empathy and compassion in your heart, you can have a larger field around you and make things happen in many different ways. You make things happen anyways. You just don't understand the subtlety of what's going on. The subtlety of energy that you feel when someone or something walks into a room. Or even you might change the frequency or the bandwidth of a room. And then we get into what kinesis is, the psychokinesis powers. And it's about using your brain as a Tesla coil to create the charge and direct it at what you want. So you can push things away. And this goes into the difference between having having iron in your blood, or what the red blood or the blue blood is. And even getting into my other videos about getting outside of that and even clearing your blood completely to be able to put certain elements in it and use those singular elements. But that goes way farther into like a higher philosophy and understanding. But certainly by putting your body into a higher conductive state, a higher conductive charge. I mean, think about it. What's inside of a wire? Copper. So certainly that's more conductive than salt. Certainly that's more conductive than the lower heavy metals. And even if some of those heavy metals have more charge in them, the ability for you to control that charge is out of your hands, because now somebody else and some other Archon is already controlling that, and you're already controlled by an outside source. And besides that, the rest of the heavy metals in your body aren't doing you a service. They're rusting. So we can get even into that. This is why these heavier metals, they rust and they decay. But these higher noble type metals, well, they last in your body quite a lot longer. They might produce a patina or a blue blood. They might change your blood and oxygenate it. Yeah, it's a type of rust, yes, but it's a higher. They'll last longer. Again, as I've talked about, it doesn't produce seed, so we have to be careful about how much and what we want to consume between those three elements. And I do speak of getting outside of even those elements, because there might be archons of control over those, but it certainly is a better idea to consume of the copper, of the silver, and of the gold. And the way to do it is Ayurveda, taking and boiling a copper or silver or piece of gold boil it in water. I think it's about 15 minutes you want to do that. You can look into the Ayurveda of it. But first and foremost, you want to cleanse your body. This is always into that. And you can always add charge to your body through fruits and vegetables. Obviously, you can look at that lemon there; it's producing charge. And as I've spoke to people before about this, when I did a lemonade cleanse, I was throwing a little bit of electricity out of my hand. I'd pop light bulbs. There's plenty of times I've touched a light switch and just, you know, turned blew up a light bulb. Even now sometimes. But I don't go too far into this too often. I will do this again and we'll get into it. If anybody wants to go on a fasting journey with me and I can talk them through it, I mean, I'd be happy to do it. I'm probably going that direction anyways right now. I've been getting pretty heavy into the urine therapy and all this, and cleansing with distilled water. So that's the first step, is cleaning your body out so you can put the right things in your body so you can charge yourself up. And then also using the oil to make sure that you're lubricated, and you don't want to burn out any of your organs, and you don't want to shock it. You don't want to shock any part of your system because you can hurt yourself. So this light as a board, stiff as a feather. What they're doing is they're producing a diamagnetic field. So you see over on the right side of the page, they've put their hands one on top of each other back and forth, and they're actually taking and getting rid of the magnetic field around the guy. And so whenever they put their hands underneath him, they're actually using two fingers. You can look all this stuff up. You can see plenty of people, plenty of kids doing it, and you can see that they're doing. First of all, they're doing the Kinesis work. Whatever one of those, you can find plenty of people doing the Telekinesis and Aerokinesis and things like this online. But you can see people doing these this light as a board, stiff as a feather, or light as a feather, stiff as a board, and how obvious it is that they've taken away the person's magnetic field, and so they basically are levitating. Like, levitation's real stuff too. You got to get rid of the idea that gravity exists, because it doesn't. We're dealing with electromagnetic universe. That's it. Gravity is a figment. If you think you're still on a ball spinning through space, well, that's your dilemma. Then you can't do these things. I mean, you still would be able to do these things, but you wouldn't understand the practicality and the electrical nature of why it's occurring. But if you get into electromagnetism, you can understand why levitation is easy. It's just a matter of changing charge, getting rid of charge. You can charge. Think of it this way: you can take a piece of metal that has no magnetic charge, and you can rub a magnet against it and create a magnetic field. So you can do that to a human's body too, and vice versa. So you take away their field, put your fingers underneath them, pick a guy up. I've seen the picture to the right is like, I think, 4 people picking up a 230-pound guy with their fingers, and you see him do it multiple times. So when we connect this electromagnetic field and how it really works, and we start to clean up our body and use our body as a Tesla coil, and we start putting the right things in our body, these things are pretty basic. They're pretty simple. And the point is to see how it's been used against us, and to override our system for quite a while. And it not only overrides us on a physical thing, but on a mental level. So by getting rid of these heavy metals and these salts in our system, and our brains and the rest of our body, we can start putting the right things in our body to have control over our abilities and our skills, as far as telekinesis and hydrokinesis and all of these other skills that you have, that you've always had, but you were blind of how they worked. You were in mental spaces of using the wrong brain waves, of fear-based mindset, of a high beta brain wave, where you're not able to access and use your brain waves and use the blood, and to implode your blood plasma, basically to do things that you see in the movies that some people can do. But again, because who's going to be out there really doing big work in front of people? Like, you would scare people. You wouldn't want to do that. People do this in small little circles. People, they don't go out there in public and do it because there's no reason to display your powers. People are frightened by it. But as people get more hip to it, and it starts to get a little more popularized that this is real, people understand we're not out here fighting electrical wars like X-Men. There's people not out here like it's been used against us for quite a while. If anybody's not aware, like, it's been used through technology, through the TV, through the media, through plenty of devices that override our bioelectrical magnetic system. And so this is just about gaining power back, so we're able to use it as a holistic system all across the planet to uplift the planet in every way. Clean the air. We would literally be able to clean the air. You start changing your charge in your system, and all of a sudden, instead of having positive ionic force that's around your body and in your system and around your aura, if you have, I mean, think of a waterfall. It smells good there because it's creating negative ions, so it pulls all of the dirt out. It's actually grasping onto all of the dirt and stuff that's in the air and pulling it to the earth, and so it smells good and it's fresh and it's electrically charged. So that electrical charge could be out of your system as well. So you would literally be cleaning the air by cleaning your body. You'd be spitting off the correct frequency and the correct ionic force out of your system to clean air, to clean the planet. So this is like real stuff, y'all. I mean, get into it. Get into my other videos. Anything else you want to know, let me know. And we'll just put it below. Hit the subscribe button and all that. Make sure you hit that like button. And put these kind of videos out there. Maybe not this one, because maybe nobody's ready to hear this. Not everybody's ready for this yet. But at least put my other videos out there. Let people know what's going on. We're trying to get people aware of their own individual power that we can bring together collectively to heal each other and heal the planet, you know? All right, cheers, everybody.